Carries. Councillor Sanchez.
Thank you, Madam President. This would be Floor Amendment C to CSR-12-41. And this one reads on page 14, line 26, replace 700,000 with 920,000. Number 2 on page 14, after line 26, insert the following: acquisition of rescue vehicle for Fire Station 21 in the amount of $180,000. And number 3 on page 14, strike lines 27. And basically what this amendment does is this amendment provides $180,000 in funding for a rescue vehicle at Fire Station 21. And I believe that that rescue vehicle now has over 100,000 miles on that vehicle. And this would be located at Allison and Coors Bypass Northwest near Cibola High School. And also this amendment would also increase funding available for the acquisition of police vehicles by $220,000, or roughly the equivalent of 5 additional police vehicles. And basically where this money would be coming from, this is the money that was in the evidence room and drug seizure money. It was a $1.1 million. And I know that we got the $700,000, and we're going to use the $700,000 for the police vehicles. The additional $400,000 was going to go into a reserve fund. But I just feel if it's, money that's was used for, was basically received because of police work in our community, that the money needs to go back into public safety. I'm not sure why we are looking at putting the additional $400,000 in reserves when I know that money is needed in public safety and for additional police vehicles. I think that the chief had stated that the average number of miles that each one of these vehicles has is about 75,000 plus miles. And I just feel that it's needed for the police department and also the one rescue truck for the fire department.
Thank you. Councillor Lewis.
Thank you, Madam President. And in fact, this revenue is coming from the reserve. If you look at the amendment, it's striking on page 14. It's striking line 27, which strikes $400,000 in reserves. And I do believe that that's the right direction. That we need to be putting more in reserves here. I know that our bond rating agencies have said that has helped us tremendously to have these kind of reserves in place, and they've told us specifically that we're heading in the right direction there. I don't support this amendment because, and this is in my district, and this is a rescue that I'm very concerned about. But I'm also very confident that we're going to be able to replace that rescue vehicle very soon. I'm told by the chief that we have 5 rescues that are actually coming online here very soon, and I believe that we'll work together with Station 21 and with the chief and see that vehicle is replaced very soon. But this is not the place to do it. This is not the revenue to do it from. And again, this is my district. I didn't sponsor this amendment because I believe that we have an alternative to be able to take care of the specific public safety need. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Councillor Sanchez.
Thank you, Madam President. I've not been told by our bond council that we are in jeopardy of having our bond rating reduced by putting this $400,000 in reserve. That really concerns me. We've not had bond council in the finance meetings or committee meetings come to us and say if we don't put $400,000 in reserves that they are going to reduce our bond rating from a AAA plus to a AA. That's a shock to me. That's the first I've heard of that.
Madam President.
Councillor Lewis.
I think the first you've heard what I said was that I believe that our agents have told us that that's a good thing, that they like that, and in all over this country where bond ratings are being decreased, then I think we're in good shape, and I think anytime we can move in that direction. But the bottom line here is that again, this is a rescue in my district. I'm confident that it's going to be taken care of. We're going to be able to replace this vehicle, and this is not the source to do that. We do have the source, the revenue to be able to the proper source to be able to replace this rescue.
Well, I would hope that would be the case, especially if that
Sanchez,
vehicle has 100,000 miles.
Okay. Thank you. Councillor Harris.
Thank you, Madam President. Perhaps I could hear from the chief, if that's okay, the chief of fire chief, because I remember when we got Rescue 8 up and started in my district, for a while we didn't even have a unit. We just used the spares. And I'm wondering if we do have a rescue unit that is on its last legs, I mean, how much downtime is there really because of the spares? I mean, how many spares do we have, and how would that work?
Madam President, Councillor Harris, AFD has a number of spare apparatus. We do that maintain our ISO rating for insurance purposes, for fire protection insurance. We have probably about 5 rescues that are currently in reserve status that we use as spare apparatus when the primary unit goes out of service for a mechanical issue.
And so how long would like this, for instance, the rescue unit up in Fire Station 21, I mean, if it's on its last legs, I mean, do they go out frequently, or what happens? What's it look like when the unit breaks down?
Well, normally, frontline rescue apparatus, which are ambulance type transport units, they last about 5 to 7 years. A lot of factors go into deciding when a unit should go into reserve status and when we replace one, such as mileage, engine hours, the age of the unit, its general condition, and the cost of currently maintaining that. So generally speaking, we replace them at about 5 to 7 years, and they go into reserve status for a couple of years, and then when it's cost prohibited to maintain the truck, we usually sell it at auction. We're currently going to be buying 5 rescue apparatus with current bond money.
And what about the people who live near, I guess it's Station 21? Sorry, is there any danger they're not going to be served because of this issue if we don't get one?
No, Rescue 21 was built in 2006, has a little over 100,000 miles on it. It's in good, sound mechanical condition, and we will be replacing it in the next year or 2.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Gardino, then Councillor Sanchez.
Thank you, Madam President. Chief, so you say we have 5 spare, but they're not spare. They're older vehicles, trucks that have been put out of service. Is that right? And you're using them as emergency backup.
Madam President, Councillor Gardino, the fire service, this is the practice used by the fire service. Frontline apparatus have replacement schedules based on established criteria, in this case 5 to 7 years, based on those factors I've already mentioned. Those rescue units are fully operational. They are older. They do have more maintenance issues, but they are reliable. When a unit is no longer reliable, it's removed from service.
So they're reliable until they break down.
Yes, you could say that, yes.
And those 5 could break down, if not simultaneously, within a period of time, short period of time.
Madam President, Councillor Gardino, the reserve apparatus are maintained in an operational state of readiness.
The reason I bring this, Madam President, is that we had 2 ladder trucks. One was put out of service because the engine blew out. The reserve was brought in. It broke down. So we were out the reserve and the one that was being replaced. So I want to make sure that we're in a real safe place and not hope that the reserves that we have could fall into disrepair, blow up, whatever, so that we don't end up with not only no reserves, but ones that are in service now, gone.
Madam President, Councillor Gardino, we have 19 frontline rescue apparatus, but we only have 6 frontline ladder apparatus. There's fewer of them, which is an industry standard within the National Fire Service. So there's fewer of them, so therefore you have fewer spares. Ladder apparatus are running upwards of $800,000 to $1 million, depending on how you spec it out.
Well, I don't mean to interrupt you. The illustration was just to show that reserves are great when they do work. But if they don't work, the designation of reserve doesn't mean a whole lot.
Madam President, Councillor Gardino, the reserve apparatus that are near the end of their lifespan, we issue out the new trucks. We assign them to specific locations. And so, yes, the spare units are less reliable than a brand new truck, just like your personal vehicles. It's really no different.
And the reason I think, Madam President, I'm going to support this amendment is that I'd like to make sure that our apparati are in good, not only good shape, but that we can rely on them. And I know it's not in my district, but if Councillor Lewis doesn't want one, I'll take it. Thank
Councillor
you.
Sanchez.
Thank you, Madam President. Again, we are appropriating that $700,000 for new police vehicles. We can appropriate money for a rescue unit. And I'm looking at there's 22 rescue trucks in the city of Albuquerque. Not one of those trucks has over 102,000 miles This has 102,178 miles. The rest have, you've got Station 6 with 35,000, Rescue 13 with 78,919, and you're saying that we may keep this truck for a year or 2 more years? Do we normally keep these rescue trucks that long based on the mileage? Because I know this particular rescue unit has to transport individuals to UNMH in some cases, and the area that it covers is a much larger area than some of the other districts. So I know that's one of the reasons we've got more mileage. But that money can be appropriated if we choose to, because we're going to put that money in reserves. I mean, don't you think we should use that money for a rescue truck if it's needed?
Madam President, Councillor Sanchez, you certainly could. That decision is up to you. Like I said, the apparatus, we keep them in service for 5 years. These are medium-duty diesel trucks. They last for more than 100,000. And you just can't look at the mileage. You have to look at the engine run time as well. They get a lot of idle time at working incidents and medical calls. So
Thank you, Chief. Councillor Lewis.
Thank you, Madam President. Chief, did anybody other than me ask you for your opinion on this amendment before tonight? Did the sponsor ask your opinion?
Madam President, Councillor Lewis, no.
Okay, so I asked your opinion on this, and we got down to the facts of when this rescue is going to be. And I want to make it very clear on the record that I want this rescue, okay? And I'm going to vote against a public safety vehicle in my own district, and talk about political shenanigans. That's what this is, okay? So we're going to get this rescued, and I'm confident that we're going to get it done. I appreciate your leadership, and thank you for helping us to be able to put a priority on this the specific need in my district. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Councillor Sanchez.
Thank you, Madam President. This has nothing to do with political shenanigans. This has to do with public safety. And if somebody calls 911 in that district, and you've got a vehicle that has over 102,000 miles, we want to make sure that that vehicle gets to that call just as quickly as possible. When somebody calls 911, they just want to make sure that a rescue unit is at their home very quickly to respond to that emergency. It has nothing at all to do with politics.
Councillor Gardino.
Thank you, Madam President. And I would hope that when I have a need in my district that other councillors would not think that I am playing such turf wars that I don't want their help, because I would. What I'm saying also is that Station 21 is the furthest probably from the trauma center. The only trauma center in this city, in fact in this region, is UNMH. If we have a vehicle that may or may not make it all the way to UNMH, I think it's a concern. And I would want to think that wanting a new vehicle in 21 would be a good thing. And I'll support it now, and if not, I'll support it in the future.
Thank you. Councillor Sanchez to close.
Urge your support.
There's a motion and a second for floor amendment number C. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? No. Motion fails on a 4-5.